I've talked about my sister and my passing, and I think what I know is that I've been in a situation like this where you lose someone tragically, suddenly. I don't want to make it about me and my experience. I don't want to make it about anything else. I just want to express my obviously sincere condolences to his family. Someone like Dan Bailey or Cristiano Aramo, my teammates, my friends, my partners pass away. I don't know how I'd handle that. I didn't really want to talk about this, the death of Lazar at the CrossFit Games, but I've had a lot of questions come my way, and I want to give it another shot to talk about it, because the first time I tried talking about it, I got very emotional, and it was really hard to communicate what I wanted to share. I'm giving perspective as an athlete in the past, as a fan, and also someone that has worked for CrossFit in the past. So I went to the CrossFit Games as a coach with Power Monkey to host clinics, as well as an ambassador of Yeti and Gorak. I was mainly at CrossFit Iron Horse hosting the seminars and camps. When I heard the news of what was happening at the CrossFit Games, the games were hosted at the Dickey Center. There was an event on Thursday at a lake, I'm not sure specifically which lake, but there was an event. And near the end of the event, one of the individuals, Lazar, drowned and couldn't find his body. They were trying to surface him, find him. I was in the middle of working with Dave Durante from Power Monkey for his handstand clinic when a couple people reached out to me, letting me know if I knew what happened, and my stomach just dropped. Didn't know the details. We still don't know all the details right now. We're still trying to figure that out. But as an athlete hearing this, it was devastating, and it didn't seem realistic. Like, there's no way he couldn't have made it to the finish. And there was a flood of videos, there was a flood of information happening on social media, on X, on Instagram, and I was trying to look and see what was going on, getting clips and bits from friends and then social media. It was drastic, and it didn't seem real. And to hear an athlete go down and possibly be missing, especially in a lake event, it's chaotic, it's sporadic, and you don't really know what to do. As an athlete, looking back at all the experience I had competing, there were so many safety measures placed on from CrossFit to us, saying these are the contingency plans, these are where safety personnel are going to be, this is the plan, etc. For those that don't know, I competed at the CrossFit Games from 2013 to 2019, and every year there was some sort of swim event, whether that was a pool, an ocean, a lake, and so there were always safety measures put in, not obviously only for the lake event, but other measures. So as an athlete hearing this and not knowing all the details and scope of information, was there miscommunication? Did someone see something and it didn't happen? Vice versa. And it's a lot. It's a lot to process. It's really heavy. I just want to clarify, I'm not a CrossFit maxi. When I first found CrossFit, I was that typical CrossFit Kool-Aid drinking girl. I absolutely loved it. I dreamt it, I swam in it, however you want to describe it.
Margo Alvarez, and I've been CrossFitting for about 5 months now, and I absolutely fall in love with it. My life is CrossFit. I dream it, I eat it, I sleep it. I can't get enough of it. And my goal ultimately next year is to make it to the games.
The first thing that pulled me in was the community, the challenge that it was you versus yourself. I absolutely loved it. I wanted to compete at a very high level, and I put that as a priority and a goal. I did get to that level, and I did compete. For those that know, I have had some past with CrossFit, and there's things that we didn't align with, and I parted ways with that CrossFit. In terms of organization, I was a seminar staff coach for 5.5, 6 years, and I absolutely loved that part because it allowed me to travel to different parts of the community around the world, teaching health and fitness, teaching the methodology, and showcasing the passion that I had for fitness and connecting with people and hearing their stories of how CrossFit and a community help uplift them and help them lose 10, 20, 30 pounds. So I just want to clarify, I know that. I'm not attacking CrossFit. I'm also not defending CrossFit. I'm just here to give my perspective as an individual that has been a competitor, but that was there at the CrossFit Games this year, supporting the brands and the companies that I work with. Again, it breaks my heart to even hear something like this, and trying to process everything. It's going to take some time. There's obviously a third-party investigation going on. We will hear more down the road. As an athlete, knowing the position and knowing everything you sacrificed to get there, I give my condolences to Lazar's family, to his brother that was there competing with him, to his partner, his girlfriend, to his family, and again, I'm just trying to provide some insight that I have as an individual that has been on the competition floor in the past. In 2015, one of the years that I competed, we were in the ocean, and they told us that, there are things out there that we can't control, like sharks. Not that you want to think about sharks when you're in the ocean, you're swimming, but they had a multitude of support. People on jet skis, people on paddle boards. And that year we had to swim around the pier. We had a 2-mile paddle board, and then we had to swim back around the pier to get back. I wasn't fearful of my life. I wasn't scared. You have to be prepared. We are athletes. We are all high-level athletes, right? We've trained our bodies in so many different facets and domains to be prepared. Obviously, in an ocean, you can't control everything. There are sharks, and there were a couple of years where there were shark sightings like 800 meters away from what we're going to do, but you can't focus on that. You have to focus on what you're doing. Again, I'm just giving my perspective. I can't speak to the situation in this game because I wasn't there competing. I was there, like I said, to support the brands and companies that support me. But there has been a lot of questions. There has been a lot of things that have risen, like what's happening, what's going on, what was the story, was there any health issues with him, was there enough support, was there not enough support? I don't have those answers. I most likely won't be the one to be able to give those answers, but I want to share my perspective, or at least insight from what I've experienced in my past. So something that's been brought up and that I've seen in multiple posts is that people die a lot in triathlons or marathons, and that there's a handful of people that die each year. But what people don't understand, if you're not in that CrossFit community, this community is so tight-knit, so interwoven that you create these friendships and these relationships with people that you only get to see like maybe once a year if you're lucky, maybe twice a year if you have a regional or a sectionals or a sanctionals that's in your area. And you train so hard, you sacrifice so much to get there, 6 to 8 hours a day. It is everything that you pour your heart, your blood, your soul, your money, everything you have into this. And to get to that level, when you finally compete and you get to see your friends, it's this mini reunion, and you're so happy, and there's hugs and smiles, and yes, you're there for a competition and you want to be the number one or you want to place top 5, but you don't realize what it is to be that 1 in that 40 or that top 5 or that top 10 at a regionals or a sanctionals or sectionals. You don't realize everything that you have to sacrifice to get there. And when you do get there, this reunion is amazing. And even if you're not competing and you're in the fans, you're as a spectator and you're a fan and you're supporting these people, you get to know each other. And just being at the games and running into people that I've known for years over the gyms that I've traveled to, you become this integrative community of people. And I think that's something that it has hit us so far. So I just want to clarify, I'm not taking away all the hard work that triathletes or marathoners put in. I'm just trying to express that the 1 in 40 athletes that compete at the games, or the top 5 that make it at regionals, you get to know each other, and you're this tight-knit community and tight group of people that you form these bonds and these relationships because you go through similar experiences. And I look back and I think of the people that I've competed with as a team and as an individual, and if someone like Dan Bailey or Chrissy Aramo, my teammates, my friends, my partners pass away, I don't know how I'd handle that. And obviously I'm getting emotional because you think of that situation that you'd have to go through. Really hard. Really hard. So I spoke to a couple. They're from Mexico. They've been affiliate owners for over 10 years, and it was their first time coming to the games. And I felt bad because it wasn't the experience that had been in the past. At Carson, at Madison, the energy was high. The community was there, so excited for the event, like looking forward. And the athletes were, they throw their arms in the air, they pump their fists, they get super excited. And I know that wasn't going to be the experience that they were going to see. And when I was at the venue, a lady asked me, she said she's followed me. She knows that I'm a previous competitor. She had never been to the games, but she was asking, is this games and is this energy the same as the past years? And I said, no, it's not. It's different. A tragic event happened, and the games that you're seeing are not the games you saw before. The energy in the crowd in the stadium in Madison and even Carson, it was completely different than the energy here. It was numb and it was dumbed down, and it wasn't super electric because of everything that happened on Thursday. I do want to touch on the business aspect of things. That is something that I have experience with in the past. In 2017, I launched my business, my wine company, at Madison, the first year they had the games there. And it was difficult. There's a lot more that goes into it than when you just pop up and show your booth. leading up to the event, I had to make 2 trips out of Madison, not only to, check out what the venue was going to look like, where we're going to be, but also set up meetings with distributors, like who's going to bring my wine, who's willing to bring it in to the venue, what price point am I going to have. I have multiple calls and emails going back and forth leading up to the game. So it's not just you show up to the booth, you show up to the venue, and you set everything up. Had multiple situations where I had to have a trip out there or calls leading up to the event. And then even getting out there, had to get up there a couple days early, make sure we unloaded everything for the booth. I had these heavy panels, which, by the way, spent weeks trying to set up for the event. And them being very heavy, had to get a storage unit to put everything in, wine barrels, apparel, boxes, everything. So there's a lot more that goes into it. And as a business owner, there's kind of a lot of things behind the seats or behind the curtain that people don't see. For example, I set up a wine event at a local restaurant, a local bar in downtown Madison. Had a handful of meetings beforehand, calls to make sure the wine was going to be there. How many spots do we have? How much seats? It was a great success. Was able to sell out within like 30 minutes and actually oversold the event. But there was a lot that went into it. I finished one of the events on Thursday, showered up, cleaned up, changed, and went straight over to the event to launch my business. And everyone's there, oh my gosh, they're so excited, yay. And like, weren't you just competing? Like, yeah, I was just competing. And I look back on it now and it's like, I don't know how I did it. Like, I just made it happen. Like, and I think there's a lot of things and a lot of layers that people don't see as a business owner, and trying to compete as an athlete at a high level and then also launch your business, get your name brand out there and be successful. It's very hard and very difficult. So looking at this games, looking at this past weekend in terms of a business viewpoint, there's a lot more that goes into it. And I think of a brand like GoRuck, it's their first year sponsoring the games and they're the title sponsor and they have something like this arise. Like, there's a lot more that goes into it just based off like that first initial eye that people see. The reason I bring up my launch and my business experience is because there's a question that's been coming up: should the games continue or not? And it's a hard question to answer because there's so many layers. There are some businesses and brands that are like, I'm going to launch the CrossFit Games, and they spend their entire year or 2 years planning to get there, making sure they have their booth, the inventory, the infrastructure, and their team behind you. Then you have some companies that want more visibility and they're using that as a launch pad to get more visibility. And it's hard because there are intricate layers. I think of like an onion and you're peeling back these layers. Like, you might answer this one question, but then there's another layer that you need to peel back. So it's not just black and white. There's multiple layers of gray. You also have the perspective of the athletes. The athletes sacrifice so much to get there. They put so much training in there, and you're such a tight-knit community. When you do get there, you get to celebrate this coming together because you qualified. You all made it there. And again, that emotional wreck and that emotional havoc is so hard to deal with, and you're all here in this one spot. And then also on the other perspective, you have these fans. They save their year's worth of vacation time, and I've talked to multiple athletes or multiple individuals that have said, man, every year I look forward to this event because I take my 1 week of vacation that I have and I come here, and I'm like, man, they pour everything into this sport and this community because they love it, and they get this opportunity to meet people that they look up to, and that's hard. Like, I've had people tell me that like I've inspired them to, get to the gym and lose weight, or, they had a family member pass, their brother or their sister pass, and me continuing on with my life and going after my goals gave them the inspiration. I'm sorry to get emotional, but again, there's so many different layers to this. There's the business, there's the fans, there's the athletes, there's so many things that go into it that it's hard just to give that straight answer. I think if it was, I think the event should have maybe possibly pivoted to not much a competition, but more a way to honor him by turning it into, not necessarily a festival because that's not the right word, but a place to honor him or his legacy, his family, and maybe not do it as a competition aspect, but more as a celebration of life. Like, it's unfortunate, so unfortunate and horrible that this happened, and people got all the way there. So bring everyone together, do something to honor him in that facet. And I don't have the right answer. I think that it took a lot for so many people and so many things to get there, that if you're all there, like, how can we honor him, or how can we hopefully celebrate his life, that he loved the sport. Him and his brother were there competing together. Like, honor that. I think that might be the right answer. Again, I don't have the right answer, but if I was to look at some decision or some resolution, that might possibly be it. Again, I'm not defending nor attacking CrossFit. I'm no longer part of CrossFit HQ, but I love the community and will always love the community. And the community are the roots of the games. To all the gyms, to all the boxes, to all the events and local competitions that I've been to and the people that I've connected with, that is my heart. And I hope we can get back to that.